Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Gear Goggles. I'm Torin, and cheers to gear. So we're back in the kitchen again, still not in the studio, but that's all right. It worked all right last time. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the rifle system that I used this past gun season here in Pennsylvania. So most of the review will be on the actual rifle itself, which we'll get into. And then I'll cover a review of the scope separately. And then I already have a review up on the Bipod. So I'll put those links in the notes below, but also look for those at the end of this video as well. So let's dive right in. So this year I was using the Savage 110 Ultralite rifle. So it was a new rifle for 2020. Some really cool things Savage did with it. So sort of entering that ultralight rifle space. We're seeing a little bit of a trend, I guess, that way in some instances. And so Savage hopped onto that. It's based on their super popular 110 action, and it's part of the 110 family. So you can expect that super reliability there and the awesome accuracy that the 110s are known for. Some cool things that they did, though, they partnered up with Proof Research and added a Proof Research carbon wrap barrel to this whole series. And they did some really cool things with the action and the bolt, and we can get into that first. But we'll start sort of at the ground up and then go through the rifle and then talk a little bit about the system too. So the rifle that I was shooting this year was chambered in 280 Ackley improved. And that's one of the really awesome things I liked about the 110 Ultralights is that they offered it in some really cool calibers. You could get it in 280 Ackley like I did. You could get 28 Nosler, 6.5 PRC, 6.5 Creedmoor, 30-06, 270, and some of your other standard calibers. But generally, for a rifle in this price range, so MSRP on Savage's website is like $1,500. Realistically, you can get that a lot closer to $1,000, probably $1,200. So to get those caliber options in this type of rifle, you don't see that with all manufacturers. So that was one thing that really intrigued me. The other thing that really intrigued me was the weight, and then the carbon wrap barrel from Proof Research. So if you've ever done some shopping on barrels and you were just looking for a barrel from Proof Research, you got to be wondering how Savage was able to turn a profit while also including a Proof Research barrel on the gun for the price that they offered it at. And so there's a really great value there with the barrel. So that was intriguing to me. And then, the overall weight. So the advertised weight on this rifle in 280 Ackley was 5.85 pounds. I weighed it barrel rifle, and my scale put it at 6 pounds, 4 ounces. So about 6 or 7 ounces over advertised weight. So that was a little disappointed. Honestly, I didn't weigh it until after the season was over. And I wasn't surprised to see it come in overweight because I didn't think it was as light as I thought it would be when I was carrying it. But with that said, I'm not terribly disappointed, but I would have liked to see it a lot closer to the advertised weight. So let's talk about the stock first, I guess. Like the other 110s, this features the AccuFit stock. I'm not crazy about the stock aesthetically, and that's really subjective. It might not matter to a lot of people, but it just doesn't look and necessarily feel like a high-end top stock, especially when they put on, a high-end barrel and really high-end skeletonized action and those sorts of things. But what I did like about the stock a lot, and it was just so popular with the AccuFit stock, is that it is adjustable to each and every user. So it has an adjustable cone and then an adjustable inserts for length of pull. And so those come standard with the rifle. So each rifle, you'll get 4 inserts for length of pull. So you have the 3 plus the one that's already on the rifle. You also get the different mounting screws to accept those different adapters. And then you also get 5 total pieces here for an adjustable cone so that you can line up the correct height there so you're getting the right view through your scope. So that was nice. The other thing that I really liked about the scope, and I didn't anticipate to like this as much as I did, or things that I liked about the stock rather, that I didn't expect to like as much as I did, was the grips that they have both on the pistol grip and then on the fore end of the rifle. So it's a little bit rubberized there where the checkering is. I thought that was actually really nice as I was carrying the rifle. I don't tend to use my sling a lot on a rifle. I do normally have one on it, but I don't always use it, so I'm typically carrying it. So having that little extra grip was actually really helpful for me. The trigger, this does have an AccuTrigger, pretty popular trigger that Savage has created in-house. It's a functionally 2-stage trigger that allows the user to be able to adjust that trigger at home. It gives you a range from 1.5 to 4 pounds. So that's nice. The two-stage makes that a little bit safer, especially if you're tending towards that lighter trigger pull range. So it just helps reduce or eliminate any accidental discharges from dropping, bumping, you name it, on those lightweight trigger pulls. Great trigger. I enjoyed shooting it. It was my first time shooting an AccuTrigger. I loved it. I will say I'm not an expert on triggers or clean, crisp triggers. I know some people are really fanatical about that. But I thought it was great. I didn't feel any resistance. I thought the pull weight and everything was great. So can't say enough good things about that. And the best part is you can adjust it at home. You don't need to take it to a gunsmith to get that adjusted, and you don't need to throw in an aftermarket trigger to get some adjustability. It's already right there. It does have a 2-position safe. And then you have, I talked about this a little bit already, you have the skeletonized receiver. So what they did is they just took some extra metal out of this receiver to help lighten things down. You can see here a little bit of extra metal taken out. You'll see that on this side of the rifle as well. And then they also added the spiral fluted bolt, which helped reduce some weight there too. The action on this was incredibly smooth, just buttery smooth. I was so impressed with that. It was a real joy to cycle through rounds on the range, especially as I was shooting a little bit quicker. I tried to put it through its paces a little bit on the range, and that was fantastic. It does have a detachable box magazine. Capacity will vary with whatever caliber you choose. On the 280 Ackley, it took 4 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, so you could expect 5 rounds. Plenty. I was pleased with that. Some of the other offerings, 6.5 PRC and 28 Nosler, I think have a mag capacity of 2 and then 1 in the chamber. The barrel, it's a 22-inch proof research steel carbon fiber wrap barrel. As I mentioned, it is threaded for a muzzle brake or suppressor or anything else you might want to put on the end there. It's a standard thread 5.824. It does come capped already, which is nice. I didn't feel the need for a muzzle brake on this, although it might be something that I would consider long-term just to help stay on target a little bit better. But it was pretty great shooter, and it wasn't jumping around too bad on me. Now with the action, it's what Savage calls their blueprinted action. So designed to be inherently accurate and lock everything in place exactly the same way every time with super tight tolerances. And then Proof Research is known for their super accurate barrels. So that combination resulted in a super accurate rifle. And I saw that on the range a lot. So I was shooting factory ammo. I was shooting Nosler 140 grain AccuBonds. And this rifle shot them incredibly well. I shot mostly at 100 yards. Where I'm at in Pennsylvania, we don't have the opportunity to really extend range all that often, especially on live targets. So I wanted to keep it as realistic to a hunting situation as possible. But absolutely no problems out to 100. They do guarantee sub MOA, and you should have no problem doing that with even the sort of high quality factory ammo. I wasn't sure if I'd like the 22-inch barrel. I thought maybe I'd want something a little bit longer. Just to try to get a little bit more speed. I didn't put it on a chronograph. But again, for what I'm doing in a hunting situation, it doesn't really matter. And probably the shortened barrel is a little bit helpful. So the 280 has a 22-inch barrel. Overall length is 42.5 inches. So a nice sort of compact mid-length rifle. The barrel was twisted at 1 9. I think that some of the other calibers, maybe 28 Nosler and 6.5 PRC, have a little bit quicker twist rate, 1 8 or 1 8.5. But those twist rates on all calibers seem sort of right in the sweet spot for those particular calibers. So well thought out. But that's what you would expect with a proof research barrel on it. And since I was in the process of, building a lightweight rifle and wanting a lightweight system, I wanted to put some lighter weight accessories on it. So I used some Tally rings, one-piece rings, and you can get them for all makes and models. So these are specifically made for the Savage models. The receiver does come pre-drilled and pre-tapped, so installing the rings was super easy. And then scope-wise, I put on a Vortex Razor HD LHT, which stands for Light Hunting Tactical. It's the 3-15 by 42 millimeter objective. The scope specs at 19 ounces. So right in there in the ballpark with some of the lighter weight scopes, especially for a scope that has these features. So you have your exposed windage and elevation turrets, which was really awesome. You do have side focus on it. It is illuminated. And I'll do it, like I said, I'll do another whole review on that scope. But it was a really nice pairing for this rifle to try to keep things lighter weight. And then on the front end, and I did the review on this as well, but I have a Spartan Precision Javelin Pro Hunt Bipod. Weighs a couple ounces, and again, it was perfect for the whole entire setup. So overall, really pleased with this rifle. It was awesome to have the caliber options, as I said. So if you're interested in some of the maybe more out there or newer or more interesting calibers, this rifle is available in some of those. If you're interested in something a little bit lighter weight, this is a good place to look, especially if you're looking for sort of, I don't want to say budget because it's certainly not a budget rifle, but it's probably at the lower end of what you're getting, and it's a great value, I guess is what I'm getting at, for getting the proof research barrel, pre-threaded, the AccuTrigger, the AccuFit stock, the skeletonized receiver, the spiral fluted bolt, all of that for $1,200, maybe cheaper depending on where you're buying it, is really a great deal. A couple of things that I was disappointed in, as I mentioned, it did come in overweight, 6 or 7 ounces overweight in the case of this rifle. So that was a little bit disappointing. I would have liked it to certainly cut those 6 or 7 ounces. So my total rifle weight was, I think, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, something like that. I'd have to go back and look at that. And I'll post that picture actually in the review here, so we'll double check that. But I would have liked it to been closer to 7 pounds ready to hunt, but it is what it is. But overall, if you're looking for something new, interesting, top of line as far as quality, machining, reliability goes, definitely look at the 110 Ultralite. Even if you're not into shooting super light guns, this is sort of right at that threshold of not being too light. So it's got enough weight to it that most people should be able to shoot it comfortably. I know that's a common concern with lightweight rifles, is that they're almost too light, that you start to affect accuracy. I don't think you'll find that to be the case with this rifle. Again, it's the Savage 110 Ultralite from Savage Arms. You get the 110 reliability in an ultralight package. Look for the reviews on the scope, and I'll link to the review on the Bipod. Thanks again for watching, and cheers to gear.